Yoram Schweitzer, Director of the program Terrorism and Low Intensity Conflict of the Institute for National Security Studies in Tel Aviv, Israel. What kind of future for the world threatened by the Islamic State, Daesh?
The future of the world in its fight against the Islamic State is dependent what the world will do about it. The threat is quite clear, it's quite imminent, it's quite barbaric. They represent a philosophy which defies any norm and codes that the world have adopted, the civilized world has adopted, and they wish to flip it upside down and to impose the norms and codes that they present to us in the barbaric acts against Muslims, against other minorities, and that's what they're after. And they use terrorism not only in their own Middle East countries when they operate, but also in Europe. They want to shift and turn upside down the democratic values, the principles of civilization, and if we don't wake up to stand up against this challenge by force, by judicial system, prosecuting the leaders of the Islamic State and the people who join the Islamic State, and we don't relieve the world from this practical implementation of their interpretation of Islam, the world is going to suffer. And we don't have to wait until bombs and suicide bombers are exploding in the cities of Europe in order to fight the Islamic State in the Middle East and here in Europe, and to find these people who joined the IS and being sent by IS and to prosecute them and to intercept their intentions. And we have the ability to do it, and we have proven the ability to do it when Al-Qaeda was at the forefront of this, the same, by the way, Jihadi Salafi doctrine.
How much important and consistent is the military effort of the international coalition against Daesh led by the US?
The international coalition is doing the job it has to do. It's getting better, it's improving, it's much more effective, because this war is mainly based on intelligence, which should be collected and be very surgical, attacking specifically those who belong to the Islamic State. And of course it had to be much more effective and much more rapid, because there is no way to deal with the Islamic State without hitting it hard in the places where it controls, and to relieve the people who are subjected to the rule of the Islamic State. It doesn't have to be with large contingents of armies. The boots on the ground excuse of not doing what needs to be done shouldn't be done in high number of our contingent of armies. It should be done by special forces, by aerial intervention, by working together with local people who have to do most of the job with the assistance of the West. And it has to be accelerated, because there are going to be more attacks that will basically drive the world to deal with the problem. I am quite optimistic on the one hand, because I think we don't have any other alternative but to fight it and to destroy it on the ground, and to work also against the philosophy behind it. And we need the cooperation of the Muslim and Arab countries to help us to speak in their own language, according to their religion, to defy and to destroy the twisted interpretation of Islam. And that's a mutual, a common interest between the West and the Arab partners.
How much dangerous for Europe is the presence of foreign fighters in territories very close to us, such as Libya and also in the Balkans?
You have a problem, not only in Italy. Europe has a problem, and it knows that it has a problem, and it needs to fight it. It's not only people from the Balkans and from Libya that may come here, but also people that were coming from the central of Europe and went there and went into this melting pot of global Salafi jihadism that was incorporated into their minds and they want to come back and to operate. So it's a matter of defensive measure that will be adjusted to the threat, which, by the way, was done when Al-Qaeda was at the forefront of representing these atrocities, planned atrocities, and the European continent managed to block most of it. It will do the same, but it needs to turn off, to shaken off the dust, and to re-energize the right institution to deal with the problem, and eventually it will be done. The sooner it is adjusted and prepared for, the less atrocities we are going to suffer.